All right, you bunch of degenerates. Welcome to the show. Joe Pal the Moo Cow here for Indie Film Cafe's Criterion Watch program. I'm your old Pal the Moo Cow, and I'm joined by
Jonathan A. Moody, your co-host.
And together, for the first time in over a year, right? Or almost a year?
Almost a year.
Yeah, we are joined by
Elizabeth.
Hey.
Elizabeth. Woo!
All right, and this is your first video, right?
Yeah.
Outstanding. All right. Well, we've gathered together to watch a movie, which was originally going to be Killing of a Chinese Bookie, John Cassavetes' movie, but I decided that since Elizabeth is here, it might be better to do To Die For.
To Die For.
The Gus Van Sant movie with Nicole Kidman. This is probably the movie that made her a star. And
Nice.
Just an amazing performance. And, at that point, I think she was pretty much overshadowed by her husband, Tom Cruise, at that point. And I think that's the movie that made people say, oh, okay, this is not just a pretty face. This is someone who can really, really act. And it's a really good thing. And the thing is, this is when I really liked Gus Van Sant. His first few movies, once he did sort of Good Will Hunting, and I didn't really care much for his stuff. But
I
first,
liked Good Will Hunting.
I love Good Will
first
Hunting.
three movies, I'm all about them. My Own Private Idaho and Drugstore Cowboy.
I
Those
have
are
my own
great
private
movies.
Idaho on Criterion, so we'll probably do that at some point.
Some point.
Yeah.
But we're going to check out this movie, and we'll be right back to talk about it on the flip side.
Bye, everybody.
Ah.
All right.
Okay, we are back. So,
I'm going to have nightmares.
what do you guys think? This is the first time you guys watched this movie, right?
Yes, first time I did.
Yeah, I loved it. I saw it in the
have
theater.
you heard of it?
I'd never even heard of it
I
before.
saw it in the theater when it came out, and it just blew me away. And I'm like, that is great. So I bought the DVD, and then for a long time, this had not come out in Blu-ray, and now finally it's out in Criterion.
Blu-ray and 4K.
Yeah. So, wow.
It's interesting. I see a lot of people, collectors out there, were getting this movie, and I had never seen it, so I was like, I don't know if I want to, just get it sight unseen. After watching it, I can tell why people wanted to, because a lot of people had seen this back in '95 or
Absolutely.
later when it came out on DVD and whatnot, and so it's awesome. I liked it a lot. I would definitely watch this over and over again. So I'd love to have it in my collection.
So this movie, and of course, Good Will Hunting is what projected Gus Van Sant from being sort of an indie director to now working in sort of the big networks. Because although the shot-for-shot Psycho remake kind of maybe took a seat or a step or two back, but.
Did you know he did that? The director did the Psycho remake.
I did not know that.
Yeah, with
Vince
Anne Hesh.
Vince Vaughn playing the.
I don't
Anthony
even think I
Perkins.
saw the original, much less the remake. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Gotta
a
watch the
classic.
original, Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It's just, it was the same thing with different people. It was weird.
Well, shot for shot.
Yeah.
90% of the time I am against remakes of any sort.
Yeah, same here.
What did you tell me they were getting ready to remake that I'm horrified about? Oh, yes.
I think I said it, but I'm trying to remember. So they're doing a remake of.
Or the second, a sequel to
Practical Magic.
Practical Magic.
Kill Me Now.
Which I don't think Nicole Kidman is. I don't know. I don't know if she's back or not for. I can't say.
Though
So.
I'm a bigger fan of Sandra Bullock, so.
Yeah, I wonder if I bet they do have both of them back.
I bet she looks just like she does in this, too. I mean, she's just one of those people who's just going to look the
Neither
same.
her nor Sandra Bullock actually aged.
No.
So.
Yeah.
Though
Well,
maybe they're playing the ants. Maybe they are
Maybe.
the ants this time, and they've got new.
Well, this time, Nicole Kidman is playing probably one of the most narcissistic, psychopathic sociopath I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then again, it's perfect because typically these people think they're smarter than they actually are, but they're not. So somebody always,
somebody always gets
them in the
gets
end.
them at the
Her
end.
her sister-in-law summed her up in one word at the very beginning, and it was absolutely perfect.
Yep.
Sister-in-law, yeah, and said, "What did she
Juliana
say?"
Douglas.
What did she say?
No, she didn't say it. That's the point.
Well, what did she not say?
She said the C word.
Yeah, C word, a 4-letter C word.
Four-letter C word.
4-letter C word.
And that was the best. Yeah,
Clam.
and then the first,
It wasn't
first
clam.
time you meet
Means
really-
the same thing though.
the first time you really see her, other than her talking to the camera or whatever, you said that. You said, okay, I see why she's saying that. Because,
Yeah.
like, yeah, she was absolutely
She was horrible.
she's a horrible human being. Very manipulative, which is funny because in the beginning, we sort of see that Matt Dillon wants to date her and everything. And the sister says she seems like an idiot. You know, why would you want? She can't even bowl.
Calls
you
it the
know.
Ice Queen.
Yeah, the Ice Queen. She's
Foreshadowing.
that was, I think, that was the point.
I just got that.
Yep.
You caught that earlier. I missed
Well,
your
he's seen the
comment.
movie a few times, so
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
But he said Ice Queen, and I went. I didn't think about it, and then now I just put the connection that that's what Paul
No.
meant.
It's
Yeah.
kind of the perfect foreshadowing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I really dug the movie. I thought it was very clever. You said Buck Henry wrote it,
Buck Henry.
so he's the guy. I don't know if you've ever seen The Graduate, but he wrote The Graduate. He wrote a bunch of different things.
Yeah, he's
and,
a very well-known and well-respected writer in the Hollywood community.
Yep, and so he also has a part. He usually does that. He usually plays
He was
a part.
great. He was
He
the
was-
grumpy teacher who was whacking Casey Affleck
Yeah,
for misbehaving.
which we were like, that can't fly today.
A lot of
You
stuff
know?
in this movie
There's
can't
a
fly.
lot of things in that movie that can't fly today.
It's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, because if she hadn't gone, even if the trial about her being, killing her husband
Well,
had been, tried and she was found innocent, she still should have gone to jail for
Even-
molesting children.
even more than that, today it is far easier to get yourself exposure and to get yourself notoriety. So much easier now than back then when all you really had was television. This is before the internet really became a big thing. And
She just should have just waited.
But you
Yeah.
could have remade this whole movie making her an Instagram personality.
That's
Good.
true.
And it would
Good.
have played out almost exactly the same way.
I wouldn't want a remake, but if they did,
No,
a
no,
remake-
please
Yeah.
don't. This
Yeah.
was bad enough.
But it'd be a lot easier, and she'd have to do a lot less. It's
Yeah.
much easier to be a meme, or to have your 15 minutes of fame. It's much easier.
I mean, the Haktua girl's getting more fame
Oh my
and
goodness,
everything.
yes.
So,
I
God
love
if
bless
that's
her.
the case, what?
I love the Hawk Tour.
Oh,
Well,
my
she's going
goodness,
around.
yes.
She's going around doing stuff for
She's
animals.
sweet, she's pretty, and she's doing stuff for animals.
Yeah.
She's giving money to animals. So I
support her.
I support her too. I'm
I
just
fully
saying, like,
supported her
she-
when it started because, the sexual repression of women has always been a thing, and that's stupid. So,
Well, and it was sort of like the spot right then and there in real life that that we needed that time, because we had all this other stuff that was taking place in the media and everything, and the media just needed like something else that was like very
and
silly.
Plus, it wasn't just the fact of what she said and how she said it. The fact that the guy who was giving it there did not expect that to come out at all. His reaction was great. So it was the totality of the moment.
But he's
that
not the
worked.
one who he didn't get famous at
No,
all.
he didn't.
No. And like, I don't even know what podcast or video it was for. I just know her and stuff. So it kind of goes to show you, like, the people who get attention are the
Mhm.
people that the camera
It's very
is
fickle.
on front in
Right.
front of.
And, just like in this movie, I mean, let's face it, she's an extremely attractive woman. That's a big plus when it comes to things like notoriety or fame or celebrityhood or television or anything like that, because
Right.
it's a visual medium. So when you are visually pleasing, you get all kinds of extras and bonuses and pluses. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So same kind of thing, except she's using her stuff for good, whereas this one, oh my God, self-serving and evil and just awful.
Mhm.
And it's so funny because throughout the movie, like, she wants to be famous, like famous, like, where she wants to be a top reporter for a big whatever. At the end of the movie, she still doesn't even get that,
Mhm.
right? Which is great, because like the normal Hollywood route would be to kind of get her all the way to the top and then have her, die or whatever.
She was ready though. She had that same letter written that she was going to give to Wayne Knight to do the exact same thing. But,
Mhm.
she didn't need it, but she would have done it.
She was about to.
She was about to.
And then she saw that other guy.
Mhm.
And I don't know why that made her go, okay, I guess I don't want to have to suck off both of these guys.
Pretty much.
I think
You
so.
know, was that it? Like, she
Yeah,
was like,
that
oh
was-
no.
One
One's
was
enough.
okay.
One
yeah.
was bad enough. Two was pushing her limit.
Yeah, she was like,
Right.
never
No
mind.
witnesses.
Plus,
Mhm.
that's like, all she had to do was, like, they called her, what did they call her when she came in?
Gangbusters.
Gangbusters. Because she just comes in and just takes over, you know, and everything. That's just her personality.
Right.
And
Which,
everything.
you know, if it's harnessed properly is fine. It's just, you know, you got to be part of the team. You can't make the team serve you.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of the problem there with her. But it's funny because, you know, initially when you see things like this, especially with these dumb teenagers who get used and things like this, usually you look at stuff in the news and you see and think, oh my God, what an evil jerk this kid must have been. No. In this case, he was just a dumbass teenager who gets his ass manipulated, and when you watch it when it's happening, it's like, oh, there's no way. This poor kid, there's
done.
nothing he can do.
Yeah.
He is not getting away from her. You know, she is going to do whatever the hell she wants with him, and there's nothing he can do about it.
And that was Joaquin Phoenix.
Mhm.
So it's interesting because we talked earlier about Gus Van Sant, and Gus Van Sant had done My Own Private Idaho with River Phoenix.
Right.
So he's worked with both Phoenixes, which is awesome.
Rain
You know.
Phoenix was also in that movie.
Was in My Own.
No,
this
this
one.
Mhm.
Rain Phoenix, and then I think I don't know if Summer Phoenix ever worked with him too, but she's a fantastic actress. The Phoenix family is just like phenomenal. But
Kate, too.
well, our friend
I'm
Kate,
kidding.
yes. So anyway, he like Joaquin Phoenix, who I don't know at that time he was even anyone, you know, right? Like he wasn't much of a name at that time.
He was a young actor who was
I think because he
starting
did
to build stuff.
he did do stuff. I think didn't he do like if I'm correct, he did do like The Outsiders or something, like because his name was like Leaf originally.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then he changed it to Joaquin, or I don't know which way.
Other way it went around, his name was Joaquin, but he went by Leaf so that he fit in with his siblings.
There you go.
Like Leaf, Rain,
Mm-hmm.
River,
Leave
Yeah.
me alone.
Summer. All of them have sort of that, you know.
Hippies!
You know, I don't know. I always like that family, I love River.
They've got a lot of talent, that's for sure.
I miss River Phoenix, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he was a very.
But you see how she, not only she manipulates him, but then she threatens to take it away from him. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, if you can't satisfy me, I suppose I'll have to go to the other
Russell.
boy. Yeah, Russell. Who, obviously, she'd rather not be anywhere near Russell because he's the worst of the bunch.
Casey Affleck. So there's the Affleck family and the, you know, and then also Ben Affleck and them worked on, Good Will Hunting with Gus Van Sant, and Casey Affleck was in that as well, playing another dumbass, like little brother kind of character, you know, which was
He does
great.
that well.
Apparently, like he was typecast young, you know, when he was like that. But I don't know, he did a great job in it, in this, because he just played an asshole, you know, kind of character. Just as you say, like a dumbass high school asshole kind of character. I thought he did great.
Yeah, you said, oh, I went to high school. We all went to high
We
school.
all went to
there.
high school. Well, the thing is, I actually hung out with them.
Mhm.
That was your crowd?
That was kind of my crowd.
That was the smoking court crowd for us.
Yeah, that to
You know,
me,
I was at the smoking court. I hung out with. They were kind of the ones that I did, but I mean, they were in the same friend group, but the ones that I really wouldn't be around alone. You know.
Well, some of the smoking court friends were like the ones who did smoke and like did pots and all of that stuff, whereas some of us went and played handball on the smoking court. That's what we
yeah, no. So most of us went there to actually
did. Or
smoke.
Polish handball, which is a different game altogether.
no, my I didn't really, I don't know, I hung out with a bunch of different crowd, you know, or whatever, and one might have been like that crowd, but I just, you know, I hang out with him for a little bit, then I'd go float over to
And
somebody
then
else.
you find out one of your group is actually an animal torturer, and you gotta kind of pull it in a little.
dear.
I never had that, thank God.
Mhm.
Oh man.
But she manipulates all of them. She even manipulates the girl whose name I forget.
Lydia.
Lydia.
Yeah, she manipulates her too.
I liked Lydia a lot.
Poor Lydia. She's the one who seems to have made out the best, though, out of all of them.
There's that scene where Lydia, wasn't Nicole Kidman's name again in this movie? Suzanne and Joaquin Phoenix. You know, all of them are hanging out, and then Nicole Kidman says, you know, can you walk my dog for a little bit? And oh man, I was just like,
But you had a which one of you said it had a very good point. She could really only get one of them to do it, so
Right.
she's
Yeah,
basically picking between the two. I did not realize when Lydia was watching her try on all the things that she was aware that Lydia was a lesbian. I thought she was innocent of it and just changing in front of her because that's what girls do. But then realizing that that was an intentional manipulation to see how she could use that against Lydia,
well,
diabolical.
made me a little nauseous.
yeah. So she was very observant. Even though she's a narcissist and only thinks about herself, she was very observant, which made her easy to manipulate people because she was able to see things that I wouldn't have picked up. I didn't know. Up until I saw her going up the stairs and looking through the door. I was like, oh, she's got a thing.
Plus,
for that, too.
again, I hate to say it, but she's gorgeous. So even if I were able to see all these things, etc., and plan ahead, I still couldn't do the things that she could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you have those advantages, I guess you run with it. I don't know. If you don't have a conscience.
If you don't have a conscience, if you don't, you have to get rid of that conscience
Right.
in order to do what she did.
Exactly, and there's that scene with George Siegel who tells her basically how to get to the top. And we talk about
Be able to do things that a normal person
wouldn't
won't
do, and that includes sleeping with the people, the casting couch shit and stuff like that. That's how they did it. Now,
Of course, it ends up being more than that.
But how she
Right.
pretends to misunderstand
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing, and well, it turns out that he didn't. That her former boss isn't the one who wrote that letter. Well, then who did? Bitch, you knew.
you knew she just was trying to play dumb so that she could get, she could look dumb so that he would give her more information and stuff like that. Because people feel more comfortable telling a dumbass something than somebody really smart, and they could use that against.
Weaponized incompetence.
Yeah. So.
However, just when you think you're the smartest one in the room, there's always someone smarter than you. And
that turned out to be the Italian family who happened to have connections with the
Don't
mob.
fuck with the guy who fucks with the mafia.
Didn't she know that he had ties to
Yes,
the
that
mob?
was mentioned
She knew that
earlier. I remembered it earlier in the movie. That's where
Well,
I put that
did
together.
Nicole Kidman know? That's the question. Did
Yeah.
her character, did Suzanne know
Mm-hmm.
that she had ties? Then why the fuck would you ever trust
because she
anything?
thinks that she's in control of the situation. She thinks that she's convinced them of her whole show, and they don't believe
She
it.
has convinced herself of her absolute utmost importance, that it never crosses her mind that the guy wouldn't be a famous TV producer.
David Cronenberg, too.
Yeah, that was great.
Not that I know who he is, but I did recognize his face.
He's a filmmaker, actually.
Right.
He's he did a bunch of great movies like Scanners and I think Existence. He did Existence.
Yeah,
as well.
and I'm thinking the one with the two were the twins. Where what's his name is? My brain doesn't work anymore.
Well, you did Videodrome, which we did a
Videodrome.
and then there was the one with the twins or whatever. I think there's a bunch of great movies.
A lot of great movies. He's really good.
He's fantastic, and he's usually in the Criterion
And he's a
collection.
Canadian.
So I think it's hilarious that he's in another Criterion film when he's just being an actor.
He does that. He does pop into movies now and again.
I think he was in, if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but I think he was in Jason X, as like a scientist in that. So like he just pops in and just, whatever, hangs out and does,
Why not?
acting bits. you know, why not? You know, if you're that
And
famous.
Danny Elfman did the music.
That was a pleasant surprise.
And there was a really good soundtrack. There was a nice mix of, thrash metal from the period and rap music and just different stuff. It was really well done. It was well shot. There were some interesting shot selections I thought were interesting too, like when he gets Matt Dillon's character gets shot, and then you see him die, and the scene with the eye where it actually fades and then it becomes a reflection of the TV. I thought that was a really good shot.
Yeah,
and there were a few
I
others.
was like, wait, what is going on in his eyes?
Yeah,
You know?
that was-
And then I caught it.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
But it was very well written, very well acted. I mean, what a dynamite performance by Nicole Kidman. But everybody was really good in that. you
Yeah.
know.
I love Nicole Kidman. Matt Dillon was great. I mean, I forgot he was in this movie. So when I saw like they showed like this little picture of him, I was like, is that Matt Dillon? And so you were like, yep, because you told us there was a lot of people in this movie, that big cast. And it was an incredible cast. So people, I mean, even a young Joaquin Phoenix, you can't, you know.
It's interesting though. You said that even though you liked it, it gave you the willies.
Yeah,
And it should.
I will never watch it again.
She's a shark.
Really?
I will never watch it again.
I would
She's
definitely
a
watch it.
predator.
She is absolutely,
she's
but I
scary.
mean, she's a pedophile. She's a predator. She's all sorts of things. There's well more than one thing she should have gone to jail for through the whole movie.
But it's a kind of a frightening thing, seeing what it's like to deal with somebody who has zero conscience
Pretty much.
and who will do whatever it takes to get to whatever weird end it is that they want.
And you say sociopath, and you also say psychopath. I don't think she's psychopath. Sociopath for sure.
Sociopath,
Because
definitely.
sociopath is more manipulative and knows what they're doing.
Well, the psychopath part is because she also knows that she's going to have her husband killed for pretty much no reason other than he's in the way.
And I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
caught it or not, but when she's doing that mass interview, when she's coming out with the concept that her husband had a drug addiction and that was, what contributed to his death, there's a portion where she kind of looks around and all of the reporters are smiling at her and holding up the microphones, and that's her entourage, and she was delusional at that point. And then it kind of flips back, and then there they are actually, interviewing her, kind of sternly. But she had that glimpse for a moment that she really that this was her fame right here, and
Right,
that these were her admirers, and
Really,
so
they weren't, but
psychopath could, I don't
True.
know, it might lean,
And she
lean
was
it a little
certainly
towards that.
manipulating them along with everybody else, manipulating the
'Cause she was
situation.
certainly delusional.
Yeah, I mean, and she had she had everything as planned out as could be. The problem with, apparently planning a murder, is that things can go wrong,
Right.
and you can get caught. Police can figure these things out. They do investigations. They don't just go, okay, this person was murdered. Let's just leave it at that. It's over.
It would have been so much easier 10 years later with DNA evidence available.
Yeah.
That would have been solved
But
like that.
I love how when they both go to visit her and she lets all pretensions drop and she kind of shows them exactly who she really is.
Yeah,
You know,
she
all
was like,
this-
get the fuck out of here.
I thought we were friends. No.
Well,
Haven't you guys ever seen, what was it? She was asked about detective shows or murder mysteries
Right,
or
on
something
TV.
like
Yeah, it
that.
was like a murder mystery or something
Mm-hmm.
and things. And, there was, because, at first the girl comes by to visit and she's just like, go away, Lydia. And then she was like, I'm here with, him. And she's like, why don't you guys, we need to go our separate ways. We can't be connected to this.
Don't
We
you
can't.
ever watch murder mysteries or whatever, however
He
she
wants to
phrased
say
it.
that he loves you. She's like,
Also,
whatever.
I love where she pulls up to the curbside of her job and asks for the tapes. And they're like, oh, the cops took them. And she's like,
My tapes.
My
My
tapes,
tapes. And like,
yeah.
actually, they're on to a station
Then-
instead.
floors
by
it because
then
he's
she was already
yeah,
gone. She
yeah.
didn't even
because
she
he
didn't
was
really
there to
hear it
serve
say.
one purpose, which is to get her tapes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so she didn't care about, like, yeah, I think she had already quit the job, really, you know, she was moving on, she was going to go to California and be a star now, you know, whatever, you know, delusion.
And there are people like that, or at least there used to be people like that. I don't know so much anymore because it's so much easier, but they would do anything to get into Hollywood and anything. Because, you know, the thing about the casting couch is it's a two-way street. Yeah, there's a lot of people who got taken advantage of that way, but there's a few others, more than a few, that also utilize that to their advantage as a fast track to get where they are too. That's the other thing.
And
So-
I mean, yeah, I've seen movies and television shows where they kind of show that stuff or whatever. My specific was like the show The LA Complex. Shalon Simmons' character, you know, kind of does the casting couch thing, and she feels really regretful about it, like that she did that, and then she got her job. She got the job she wanted and everything, and you can see the look in her eyes of like, did I just kind of sell my soul for that shit? And this girl doesn't care. She would have, you know, if the casting couch worked for her, she would be smiling.
There is a little side piece that I'm not sure you guys caught fully when she's talking with Lydia, and Lydia's talking about her experience where her stepdad bought her the oil and this and that, and Suzanne immediately jumps into, you've got to put that shit away
Like
and
it's a
forget
bad
about it,
dream.
and like it's a bad dream, and how quickly she goes to that, and how quickly her demeanor changes on that topic. What happened to her?
Yeah,
I figure that's what she's been doing her whole life, is taking these steps to get to where she is, and God forbid she actually feels something about it. She just, oh, that was just a bad dream. I can compartmentalize that feeling over to here and forget about it.
But where and why did she learn to compartmentalize that way? And
yeah.
so you're looking
something
at
happened
something
to her as a
obviously,
child. Yeah.
You know,
And it's funny because you look at her parents. Her parents seem perfectly
could have
normal.
been a neighbor,
you know.
babysitter. Could have
Some
been.
people are just born like that, you know.
Yeah, but just how quickly she jumped to that as a defense and had to pack that away, and it's almost like a denial response.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, you know, if there wasn't something like that in her childhood that kind of made her this way.
There probably was, you know. I don't know. I can't say, but I because we never get her childhood. We don't hear anything.
She
But
doesn't
you're
have any
right. Her
siblings.
parents seem like very supportive, sweet parents who like her a lot. And then there seems to be
An
like
uncle, a grandfather, you
yeah,
know.
and then she seems to have all the attention on her all the time.
Well, she's an only child,
yeah,
right? No, she has a sister.
she has a sister.
That poor girl.
Yeah, we don't really hear much about her. And then when the sister-in-law gets something cool happening to her, all of a
God
sudden,
forbid.
Oh my goodness, the shade of green Suzanne turned when all the attention was not on her for a
With
moment.
this little tiny thing that she was getting too.
yeah, it wasn't even a big
But
deal.
the absolute shift in demeanor and glance and oh my goodness.
And Matt Dillon jumped up as quickly because he knew he could see his wife getting upset, so he turned it all on her again.
and got
And that is like, this is why I'm so mad that
Enabler.
he was an enabler, but he
was
loved her so much
supportive of
and
her.
so supportive that he would do stuff like that to his own sister, who he loved. Even like we were talking about earlier, he was very, very close with her. Like he would touch her in ways that, like, I have two sisters. I do not. Like, I know that just kind of, no offense, but it kind of grosses me out.
They were a little too close.
Yeah.
They were a little too close.
And I kind of did not like that. And, I mean, Ileana Douglas did such a great job. I loved her. I want to
Oh,
see
she was
more
great.
stuff of hers. Like, I know in the 90s she was really big,
Mhm.
you know, and stuff. So I would love to see some more stuff. As I was saying to you earlier, there's a scene in Chasing Amy that she was in playing like this lesbian roommate of Alyssa's, you know, that they cut because it just kind of slowed down the movie a little bit.
Chasing Amy
A
back
bridge
in
and
college.
tunnel,
I remember.
bridge and tunnel dyke.
Yeah.
What they called them.
Well, so she gives Ben Affleck's character a pretty big like talking to, you
Nice.
know, and stuff in this scene.
I'd
But
love
it's
to see
also
that.
not very funny, and so I think that's another reason why they cut it, because it wasn't, kind of slowed it down as a comedy.
Remember, we went back and talked about that film a couple years ago and how it's a little more cringy to us now than when
Well,
it first came out.
So after that, I rewatched it again, and I actually disagree sort of with some of the things we sort of said, because I feel like that movie wasn't told through the eyes of, it was told through the eyes of like Ben Affleck's character, right, and everything. I think we sort of went a little harsh on it. I think it wasn't as.
It's probably
Yeah.
worth another rewatch and another revisitation.
And what movie is that?
Chasing
Chasing
Amy.
Amy.
Maybe with some different folks to get different points of view.
Yeah.
College sometime, I swear. What year did that movie come out?
97.
97.
No, it couldn't have been college. I had to. Well, I mean,
I remember seeing it at high school and
undergraduate
getting
school.
really excited about it.
because I would have been my Lilith would have been 2. So
But anyway, it was a great movie. It's one of those films. I mean, I don't like it as. My favorite has become Clerks of Kevin Smith, but Chasing Amy, Mallrats, and
I'm a Mallrats
I know
guy.
you are,
I
and-
love Mallrats.
and all those movies. Those 3 first movies are fantastic.
Yeah.
And Ben Affleck was in, was in Good Will Hunting. So, like, all of these guys are all connected, and everything. Especially the fact that Miramax, I guess, put that out. I don't know if Miramax put this out. or
Columbia.
not. Columbia. Okay. Oh wow, it's a Sony.
Mm.
Oh, interesting. Did not know that.
Yep.
I was on her side for a little bit though when her husband decides that he's got to put his foot down and tell her no and make her look that she's realistically never going to make a career and that she has to stop what she's doing to just support him. And
Although
I kind of
he does,
I wanted to
he
shoot
wasn't
him.
really sure though. Remember,
Yeah.
he has to ask his sister.
His sister
if that's a good
convinces him.
idea, and she convinces him.
Yeah. You see, at that point in time, I kind of wanted to shoot him just a little bit too. So.
Which means you probably also wanted to shoot the sister because that was her idea.
It's like, yeah, because she should not have been advocating for
Clearly, they're a traditional.
for her to be a trad wife.
Traditional role model kind of family,
Yes.
and she's not fitting that.
No, she definitely didn't fit that.
And that's the problem.
Well, she was certainly an extreme that the role would have been repressive in the first. She never wanted kids.
Right.
He wanted kids,
if
you know?
If you want to be traditional housewife, do it. If you want to have a career, do it. But
Yeah.
you can't take the one and force them into the other
You
role.
cannot force somebody
vice
into
versa. You
something
can't
that
do
they're
it.
not. And I do not advocate for the extremes that she took it to, but he was just chasing a pretty face and really didn't pay attention to who she was.
Right.
Or what she
Because
really
if he
wanted.
did, he would have walked away and
Yeah,
said
but he
red
probably
flags
he wouldn't have walked,
everywhere.
ran. But
Because that's just it. I mean, Nicole Kidman is obviously one of the most beautiful women in the world. But if that character had been anywhere around
if
me,
I have ever in my life used the term pussy whipped, that would have been it
Yeah.
right there.
Well,
I would have seen those red flags a mile away and said no.
I mean, the red flags also included her coming home late all the time, and stuff. When she was coming home late, she was doing things she wasn't supposed to be doing.
Well, sometimes she was just editing films at the studio.
Yeah, that's true. But
But they're all furthering her agenda as opposed to their agenda.
Right.
Yeah,
They don't have an agenda. She has an agenda.
Yeah, because his agenda is he wants kids and he wants a family and he wants whatever
Her home
stable.
to support him.
Yeah, and then he is trying to be supportive of her, of her career. He didn't have a career before he met her, right? Like,
No, and he still really didn't have one. It's still just his parents' restaurant.
Yeah, he just was a bartender, right?
Yeah, he was going to take over and then sort of expand it and do. He had all these ideas to take it ways that he thought would be,
Basically
more-
trying to be more like her, and she
Yeah.
shut that shit down in a heartbeat.
And then she wanted to go out to like California or something, or New York.
I mean, didn't they have a discussion somewhere along the line about this? You would
No, obviously they did not.
think.
Yeah. Well, and to go back to where she came into the network thing, right? And she comes into there and she says, you know, basically, I'd love to work with you guys, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, slow down, slow down. And she just comes in like a bulldozer.
Gangbusters.
And,
You know who that reminded me of?
Who?
You know, like practically walking in, taking the camera, and then just doing your own thing with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I know.
No, someone we worked with.
Somebody we worked with took our camera and just started doing their own thing with it, which is whatever. We kind of let them. It was the funniest thing is we're just like, I remember you and Stro just sitting here just going,
because we'd shot all day, we're ready to go home, but this other person was like, oh, we're just getting started. We're like, oh god.
Yeah, you guys went out to go get dinner too or whatever. We went out to get dinner because I mean it got way too late.
Just one more. No. And I walked over and grabbed the camera.
You were like, that's it, no more. That was great. But anyway, that's exactly how it is. When you bulldoze and you kind of come in and you kind of take over, and that happens. You know, and there are people like that are very good at just basically, you know, taking over,
taking charge of whatever situation.
Yeah,
if you let them.
If you let them.
And the thing is, like, I like those scenes where she came in and she walks over with the what is it? Like she walks over with like notes and ideas and everything. She's giving them to Wayne Knight, and the whole time Wayne Knight's like,
she's pitching something new that stars
and
her.
He's like, eventually she wears me down. I'm like, yeah, it didn't take long. I'm sure.
It didn't take very long. No. And then he was like, all right, fine, you can do
anything. In
the weather to start with, and then
he thought it would appease her.
Yeah,
you can't appease a
tyrant. Can't appease someone like that.
But all the people did like watching her do the weather, you know.
Yeah.
So like, it was smart putting her on camera doing everything. But like she said, you know, something weather center, and they were like, weather center? What?
It's a blackboard in the back room.
To make it bigger than what it is.
A whiteboard in the back room.
I know, like
it was funny.
It was hilarious. It was so funny that she was so.
I mean, she did understand marketing.
She understood all of that. Sure. She understood publicity. She understood.
She understood manipulation. It's
she just didn't
another
understand.
Level. It's another form of manipulation.
Being human.
Publicity equals attention, and attention is all she wanted. She didn't care. Like she didn't want. I don't think she cared if she got rich. She wanted fame.
And here's the thing. This is where we start talking thematically. Is she a product of the television generation? You know?
I mean, yes and no, maybe.
Well, no more than there was a product of the radio generation and a product of the internet generation and a product. There's always been these people, and they use whatever medium happens to be handy to meet their ends.
Yeah, I think the thing with the television, a product of the television world or whatever, is just that she, you know, people, you know, any medium, as was stated, is going to be using whoever they can.
It's a platform.
To do whatever they want to do.
I mean, we remember Nancy Kerrigan, right?
Yeah, any platform can be used for self-advertisement, which is what
also
people are going to do.
The extreme somebody goes to eliminate the competition.
But see, that's the thing. So you said Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding with that situation.
Wow.
Lorena Bobbitt, you know, with her situation.
Lorena Bobbitt, if it's true though, and she was really being abused, I think I'd have done the same thing as she did.
True, but I'm saying, like, all those things, when you think of their names, those are what you think of.
Yeah.
Those are the situations. The Melinda.
JonBenet Ramsey, that was the one that went on forever.
I know.
And you know there
Menendez brothers.
I actually just read about JonBenet's thing recently, and there were actually several other kidnapping and murders of other little girls from the same dance school as her over several years, and that they are pretty sure it was an intruder, and that the local police were so fixated on the parents that they just never looked into any other suggestions. So there is a serial killer out there, you know, or at least was at the time. But
just the sensationalism
that's all you
around
remember.
it.
But that's all
Yeah,
you
it was
remember about
huge.
John Benet Ramsey is that
Yes,
she was a
when
little
you
And
think
then-
of her name, that's what you think.
The other thing I was thinking of at that time also would have been the OJ thing.
OJ.
That
Oh,
was
God.
huge. I'll never. That's one of those moments where everybody remembers where they were the night the Ford Bronco went nuts on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
because
was
I know
everywhere.
I remember seeing on Court TV or whatever it was on. My mom and dad were watching that, and we watched the live thing.
I was at a bar. We were at a bar watching it. And we're like, what the hell's that?
Yeah, I mean, but it's
Shooting
also
cool.
9/11. I mean, it's just a tragic, terrible freaking thing. But like, everybody remembers exactly where they were when they heard about 9/11. And it was,
Challenger too. You might be a little young for that.
I
Fifth grade
knew of the
classroom.
Challenger 2 later. in
Fifth
life.
grade classroom, we were watching the launch.
Yeah, there's a great meme going around about why Gen X is the way they are. Is it because we sat there and watched a bunch of people blow up
And
after
not
everybody,
understanding what
Yeah,
happened when the
anything.
teachers ran out and just yanked the plug on
and
the
they
TV.
just turned the
and
channel anyway back to science, and we're like, ah!
I think our teachers caught it before we really figured out exactly what just happened. 'cause-
But still, yeah, I mean, that is terrible. That's a terrible situation to be in, and I would not wish that. But my generation, we dealt with like literal school shootings, like almost all the time now, you know, and everything.
Well, we had them too. It's just that by the time your generation came around, it became accepted in
yeah.
our society.
yeah, it
And
sort
that's
of
the bad
became
thing.
more.
It's,
It became more and
it's
more
certainly
frequent.
more frequent.
it's
Yeah.
the bill you have to pay to make some people happy,
And so
which sucks.
I another reason I like this movie a lot is because I mean, to die for, you know, itself, that title means, you know, like basically, you know, to die for your fame, you know, or whatever for the stuff. And she like to look at the idea that this woman would do anything she could, you know, to sensationalize anything, to make it all about her. Even at the guy's funeral, she played a song that's like All By Myself. How fucking terrible. And you even said you were like, look at the priest. He's just like going,
Reese is like,
he's
horrified.
like, what the hell is wrong with this
Right,
woman?
right.
You know?
But it's an interesting question because you can ask, you know, Matt Dillon's character, you know, is she worth dying for? And then you look at Joaquin's Phoenix's character,
He went
is
to jail
she
for her.
is she worth killing for?
Is she
Yeah.
worth going to prison for? You know, he said he had to spend 30 years in prison for
And
that.
you have to say no. I mean,
The two
nobody's.
that helped him only got 13 years, he said?
Yeah,
Or
he-
15,
16.
16 years.
Because he was smart enough to take a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And was it the girl said at the end that she was going to be more famous than Nicole
Mm-hmm.
Kidman?
Right.
So that's just so.
That would have killed her.
Yeah, that would have killed her. Such a terrible, like, because
The black
then
comedy.
she sort of like became like the new Nicole Kidman. She's not as, you know, not as gorgeous as Nicole Kidman, but she
Or as manipulative.
or manipulative, but
She might have gotten a few good lessons.
yeah, she got lessons, and she was able to like learn at the end, like, you know, I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna use this as getting paid.
Someone's going to end up getting rich off of this. It might as well be me.
Right. Well, I don't know if that necessarily. She was just the dog walker for a while and everything. She was so sad because she thought they were going to go to California together, like they said, like she said, because she lied to them and said that they were going to go to California after all of this was done. No, she was planning to just ditch them as soon as it, and understandably, because she didn't want them to get caught and her get caught in the process. Really, that's the thing at the end, is like her getting caught is the big deal.
But
So.
the thing is if they get caught, you're done for, so you should protect them and make sure they don't get caught too. And that was where she fucked up.
Well,
It's
and
because
then-
her self-preservation instinct did not extend far enough at that point to realize that she needed to keep this up a little longer to keep those two quiet.
Not to mention the fact that if she actually had gotten caught by the cops, she'd still be alive.
That
That's
too.
true. She just would be in prison
Mm-hmm.
because.
Or if they had gone to California together, it wouldn't have happened either.
But even if she was in jail, she'd still be famous. She'd
or
just be in jail.
maybe if she didn't say the one thing she said on television about her husband. Remember, she said he had a cocaine problem. He did not have a cocaine problem, but she tried to say all of that stuff to make her look good.
And that's when
everything.
Dana
That's when
Dea
Dana
went off.
Dea was mad.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
because
that sealed her fate.
that sealed her fate. That if she had not said anything about that, she might have lived.
May have gotten away with it.
They might have known she did this, or in the back of their mind, because even Ileana Douglas's character said, I knew from the way she talked that she did that. But oh man, it's terrible. And I liked how the beginning of the movie, she's talking to the camera, so we think she's doing like a pseudo documentary about her or something like that. And at the end of it, she's talking to a blank, like nobody around her. She's the only one there.
And I want to mention one other thing about this as a finale. I think the movie would not have been as effective and not have been as enjoyable if she had gotten away with it. I think we would have been really bothered by that. But the fact that she kind of gets what she deserves is kind of, I wouldn't say it's a happy ending. In a black comedy, this is a happy ending, but it is. It comes full circle.
Well,
goodness.
It was a very happy ending because she died
and the dog
Walter
was fine.
lived.
Yeah, happy
Walter
for Walter.
lived.
Yes.
I was okay with that because Walter didn't deserve any of this.
No.
Walter was happy to be with any of the people. Didn't bark, didn't bother anybody.
Even for a Pomeranian, he was a
very well-behaved Pomeranian.
I don't know why people are saying, let's stuff about Pomeranians. I love Pomeranians. I would definitely have one if I could.
My neighbor has one that I have chatted with for years, and he's cute as a button. He looks like a little fox when they give him his summer haircut. But he still barks at me after 12 years. He still barks at me at the gate every single time I'm outside.
How many times has my dog, Rocky, barked at you, Paul, every time he sees you? He knows you. He knows what you look like. But every time you come in here, it's... And then he'll do the first second, and he'll be like, never mind.
But if I have work to do in the backyard, it does not stop. He does not stop. He will do it for hours.
Yeah.
Oh. Just let you know.
And for years and years and years and years, and that dog still hasn't let up.
Is the dog still around?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He's older, but he's still next door.
Is his name Walter?
No.
We found out that dog's real name was Misha.
His name is Jake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Misha was the dog in
the dog, like the real name of the.
I thought it was cute that they put Walter's real name up.
Well, they do that. They do that in every movie, I think.
I know, but.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's just funny because why not, just call the dog by its real name in the movie?
To protect his identity from all the fans that would, get his dog print.
I'm pretty sure the dog's not alive anymore.
Yeah, probably not.
Poor Misha.
And just so you know, this movie comes packed with the director-approved Blu-ray special edition features. So if you guys had the DVD, there's going to be extras. So it's got a new 4K digital restoration approved by Gus Van Sant and director of photography Eric Allen Edwards. 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. Audio commentary featuring Van Sant, Edwards, and editor Curtis Clayton. Deleted scenes. Trailer. English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. Plus an essay by film critic Jessica Kiang. Kiang. So.
Nice. I'm happy at least that has commentary and stuff. So.
Dying to hear the commentary. I've never heard it.
It's funny. I was thinking about the other day that I don't listen to commentary enough anymore. I used to do that all the time, but now I just don't have time. And I was listening to a Criterion film I just bought. And I was listening to commentary, and I was like, I love it. I didn't get to finish it, but I was loving what I was, And I'm like, I gotta do a series on Blu-ray Hunter where I just talk about the commentary. It could be called commentary on commentary, or whatever. Where I talk about the I don't know.
That's like the Seinfeld thing where it's like the coffee table book about coffee tables.
Speaking of Seinfeld, we had Wayne Knight in the movie, and we were talking about O.J. Simpson, and if they had gone to court for this movie, that would have been interesting because I think was this before O.J. or after O.J.?
After.
This?
Yeah.
Movie?
Yeah, 95.
This was I'm pretty sure before. Oh no, it's after. It's
Oh,
definitely
after.
OJ happened when I was
Yeah.
still a school
It's
kid, I
definitely after.
believe.
Okay, so it's,
So,
okay,
couple
so it's
years
after.
later.
So, but they could have done like a funny scene where, you know, one of the guys puts on a glove and it doesn't fit. You
Yeah,
know, or whatever.
you know, they
If
could
it
have
don't fit, it must
incorporated
have
it.
quit.
Yeah.
But I like this. It's like you're not anybody in America unless you're on TV.
Mm.
That was absolutely
Now
her.
you're not
That
was what they
anybody
really
in America
believed.
unless you have a TikTok.
Yeah. That's how it is now, right? Because that's the platform.
Yep.
And TikTok with 1 million followers.
In 20 years, there's going to be a new platform
Right.
that we're not even aware of yet.
And there will still be people like that.
And yeah,
I'm sure
But
whatever
there
it
were-
is, Elon Musk will buy it and destroy it. So.
There were people like that well before any of this media was invented,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
you know, it is one of those things. I love, you know, I really did love this movie. I thought this was great, and this is a great way to like end the season. You know, I feel like this is the season finale, so like this is a great way to just say, you know what, you know, like goodbye 2024 into 2025 and
Yep.
everything. And I wonder how many people would buy this now that have never seen it and could relate to it, be younger, you know, like the younger crowd. Could
Yeah.
Gen Z watch this movie and get
I don't
anything
know.
out of it?
I don't know. I mean, I was even struggling with the datedness of it, you know.
Well, I mean, because
Um,
like everything was so TV, like TV back then,
Mhm.
you know, and everything. Like even at the end, you get all those pictures of all the, you know, all the, I guess all the. It looked like was it the one girl had all the videotape of her and stuff, and
Mhm.
and it was like all these boxes and stuff in a row, and I just thought
Yeah,
that was just
that fits on a thing about this big now. All
Yeah.
of those would fit on one little.
yeah, it's so amazing.
So-
And like I said, it's much easier to become notarized or become, you know,
well,
popular.
But there are still people who would kill for it.
and that's the thing, like, so if she were around today, that character or whatever, she would be doing TikTok, or
She'd
she'd
be
be
an
doing
influencer.
Instagram, she would be an influencer.
That's the word I was looking
Or
for.
there's a lot of people go out on the street like she did, like she was talking about going out to like the movie theater and asking people what
Yeah.
their real
But
thoughts are
now
on stuff.
we have such good quality cameras right in our pockets that we don't have to have a film studio to back us up. So
And I hate to say it, but you know, I'm still on TikTok. I won't call it X, but
No,
the
Twitter's
difference
X.
or Twitter.
Mm.
I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Twitter. The difference between then and now is that, you know, he allowed the floodgates to open, and all I get in Twitter is just pictures of naked or nearly naked women who are very, very pretty, but are looking to make their money, their fame, their fortune by selling images of themselves. And it's so much easier now to do that. I mean, I don't judge if you've got it, sure, but it seems like everybody is now doing it. It's just pretty much constant.
Then you've got OnlyFans.
That's
And
what, yeah,
OnlyFans.
there's OnlyFans and all this stuff, and like it's just, and so the casting couch thing doesn't even matter anymore
Nope.
because like the people don't need it. They can just go and you know do whatever they want. I mean, I've always liked sort of the adult industry because the adult industry sort of lets women be in charge. You know, women don't have to do whatever they don't want to do.
Right.
They're not manipulated into anything. They can leave or, you know, whatever. We know a couple.
Oh yeah, and
Adult
that's
film
the
stars.
thing is you talk to them and they're like, you know, that whole narrative of, oh, I was forced into doing this. That's a load of shit.
Now
9 times out of 10, they're the ones making all the choices.
there are people, and I've been told, that are part of like sex trafficking stuff
Yes,
that do
there
Yeah,
is.
I'm not saying
that
that
are
happens.
forced into
Mhm.
that world, and none of us know that, you know, when we see it, because how would you know? Like, because they're
But they're not working for like Evil Angel or any of the other companies that are
Yeah.
out there. Those are folks who have legitimate contracts that are real contracts.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know, it's a real business,
Yep, there you go.
and that's
So-
fine. I mean, I got no problem with it.
But like that is the kind of the world, and that's you know, she used sex to get what she wanted. She had that scene where she was going down on Joaquin, and then she would start talking to him, and he was just like, oh, I was
Yeah,
like torturing that
literally,
poor
yeah.
guy
I
until
know. That's why I
she
said
got
he had
what
no chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
he got what he wanted.
Well,
God.
if he were not already, and here's where it really makes me angry, is because, like I said, he's obviously already impaired. in several ways.
Uh-huh.
On the spectrum, perhaps.
On the spectrum, or an underlying psych diagnosis, and obviously a lower IQ. So already an easy to manipulate, but made her actions even more disgusting.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys have seen anything about it, but there's a movie that was released recently, and it's about this concept of facilitated communication. And this woman worked as a facilitator to help a guy say things on his communication board. And then they developed a relationship. And facilitated communication is already a questionable thing in our field because it's way too easy to manipulate by the facilitator. And so that puts me in mind of that kind of thing with what she did, because she is clearly taking advantage of somebody.
What it reminded me of is, well, the fact that, because of those guys who they were much easier to manipulate. I remember reading about this one guy in England who was a serial killer, but he only killed children. And when they did the final investigation, they were interviewing him and they were talking about him. They all came at him as from a sexual point of view, but it turned out he had no interest in that, for kids for that. The reason he used or killed kids because they were easy.
Yeah.
Well, that's
As simple as that. You don't even think about that. He enjoyed killing. Kids were easy, so he focused on kids.
Well, that's why like a lot of serial killers target prostitutes, because they're easy.
Nobody will miss them.
And nobody will miss them. Now, the kids' parents will miss them and all this stuff, so that's...
But he's talking about the physically being able to overpower them and kill them is certainly much easier than a full-grown adult. So, yeah.
We saw in this movie how hard it was for a guy to kill a guy because, Russell didn't want to pull the... Was it Russell? Or was it Russell?
Russell was telling him to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
it was James who actually pulled the
I think
trigger.
Russell was busy leaving bits of shell all over the place.
Oyster, clamshell.
Clamshells all over the place. As his mark, as his,
He was a dumbass. I love they're like rebuking these kids. Go, boy, it was really amateur hour. You guys are really stupid. Might as well have left a calling card.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he did. Like, it was remind me of like Home Alone, where they were like, "Oh, we're the wet bandits," or whatever. So we're gonna make everything all. So they knew exactly who was like robbing people's houses exactly. Once they caught them for robbing that house.
But he might have just been dropping the clamshell because he had it on his clothes from work. I don't know. I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird, but it was So like, but it was hard for him to kill him because he had never killed a person before.
Right.
So like, he's not going to just be able to pull that trigger and everything, and he does, and we see this scene where, like, after he kills the guy and everything, kills the husband, we see Nicole Kidman giving her a little sign off for her, the weather girl, and
making her alibi widespread.
And also
planting the seed of sympathy for myself.
Yeah, and see the sympathy because she mentions, "Oh, it's our 1-year anniversary." She had him killed on their 1-year anniversary. Maybe to remember the date. So that's the date of the death, and I can always.
Well, and if you're a sociopath, those sort of anniversary dates mean nothing to you.
It's true.
Why not use it to your advantage?
That is true. It was a great movie. It was well done, and Gus Van Sant.
Because it would get her more sympathy for her husband.
Blown away when I saw it in the theater. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm a little blown away too, but.
For me, having seen Drugstore Cowboy, which I loved, and My Own Private Idaho, which I also liked, and then this, I was like, oh my God, this guy's the next big thing. And then I just didn't care for a lot of stuff he did afterward, which is, my own personal taste. But, I like the trilogy, the sort of just before he became big, Gus Van Sant.
Well, I think a lot of that is you too, because, you tend to like a lot of the guys' earlier works. And then later, when they kind of go more Hollywood, you're not really a fan of their work and everything.
Kind of mainstream.
Yeah, when they go mainstream, he's not a mainstream kind of guy.
Right.
I don't care for the things that are more conventional.
Right. And I get it. I understand. It's just
And you really haven't seen anything like this in any other movie.
Uh-uh.
Not this kind of a character study
no.
about this kind of a person. You know, I can't think of anything like that. So
Oh, it was well done. It was well acted, well directed, well written. You know,
and you can see how really well done that Nicole Kidman was perfect for this role. I'm not sure who else could have done that.
And the music was perfect for it,
Mhm.
like with Danny Elfman. Everything was just. I mean, it was
That's
a
the other
great
thing when
movie.
we talked about redoing this now. Who could you possibly cast for that? I can't think of anyone.
I don't know a lot of the newest actors and actresses well enough to even make that kind of.
I would say, what's it, Harley Quinn girl? Not Lady Gaga, which Lady Gaga is great, but I was thinking Margot Robbie.
Hmm.
She's gorgeous, and I definitely could tell she could probably be.
She can pull off Psycho, obviously.
Yeah, she could play Psycho. Obviously, I think if you were to recast this movie and remake it, which I really hope not.
Poison Ivy.
Uma Thurman.
No, the movie, was it Drew Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore was the original Poison
okay.
Ivy. Yeah.
This has been done before.
Was that in Poison Ivy? The original Poison Ivy? They did something.
She was like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Did you ever see that?
I saw the sequel, which had Alyssa Milano naked in the movie. So.
I'm trying to remember. Was she like a foster daughter of theirs or something? I'm trying to
When
remember
was
how
that
she
one
got in the
done?
house.
That was
It's
92, I think.
older than this.
It was or maybe 80s, but like late 80s. It was when Drew Barrymore was much, much younger and was trying to get away from being the kid actor, kind of role, or whatever. And then she went to rom-coms, and that's really where she stayed pretty much.
Well, that's the other thing too we have to bring up too is that this was a great Buck Henry screenplay, and that also helped this movie along.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Do a quick read of that synopsis. You might want to watch that for a little contrast compare.
Oh God, Tom Skerritt. Yeah, that is an older one. Cheryl Ladd. Yeah. Interesting. What year is that? 92.
I figured it was 92.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, but there's some similarities in the personality type.
I don't know. Does anybody ever release the Poison Ivy movies on Blu-ray? I wonder.
I mean, they have been femme fatale movies, that's for sure. I just never saw one quite like this one before.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. I think
because you could see Sharon Stone's character in Fatal Attraction a
Oh,
little bit
yeah,
like that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because her name was what was it
Suzanne
like
Stone.
Suzanne Stone,
Sharon
and I loved George Siegel's response because when she says her name, he goes, "That's a name you can remember," right? And I love that because I was like, that's what they probably think in Hollywood. It's like you need a name that people can say. That's
It's interesting because,
name.
of course, the famous thing in that film is when she, spreads her legs and you see she's not wearing underwear and she's using that to manipulate the cops that are interviewing her. And then the part where Nicole Kidman comes in to talk to the students and Casey Affleck is like bending over so that he could try to get the exact same thing. And then he gets smacked for it.
It's smacked a lot.
And that's funny because that's when the teacher comes over and says, "Dude, this guy, all he has to do is make one phone call, and a guy with a big knife is going to come visit you, turn you into a eunuch."
Yep.
Well, he makes that one phone call, and it's just not a knife he brings. Well, we don't know exactly what he brings, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
He was telling it to the wrong person, though.
Should have told it to Nicole Kidman, but... it didn't
That's
matter.
where because I was trying to remember where in the movie I got the reference that his family was in the mob, and I couldn't remember. I knew it was referenced, but I didn't remember where. So, but yeah, that seems.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I think it was the cop. Yeah, it was the cop, right, or something, or whatever. It was something. Said that. So, that's great, man. once again, I want to have this movie. I do want to listen to the commentary at some
Me
point.
too.
So I'm definitely going to buy it. I'm probably going to get on 4K.
Or when she was first talking with him, with her parents, did they imply that their family was involved in the mob?
I think somebody mentioned it, and they kind of like rolled their eyes and didn't really want to say it. Because remember, they were interviewing the parents at one point,
Yeah.
and one of the parents, her parents mentioned it, and he was like, "Yeah, well, thanks a lot."
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, they don't do that, but they
did.
they try to say they
It's good.
didn't, but they did. You know, because and they're only doing it like they would have done it if they had her husband had a loving, you know, a home, everything was fine and dandy. It was when she murdered their boy and then
And got away with it.
and made him look bad in the eyes of the family. That you disrespect that family, you're getting
It's like not only did you kill their son, but you rubbed their nose in it.
right. Exactly.
And there's all forms of justice in this world. You know, sometimes it's rough justice, but justice will eventually come.
Do you guys think she got what she deserved? Really?
I do.
I wish that the kids had been let off of their charges.
Well, I think, that should have been taken into account. Clearly, with Joaquin Phoenix's character, he bit the whole sandwich. Nothing was taken off.
But
for
he
him.
did
He
murder
was not-
somebody.
He
was
also wasn't
manipulated.
mentally competent
Right.
to stand trial in
Right.
the first place, and that should be.
And he was
fucking
manipulated.
And he was manipulated, but he did murder somebody. Like in the
I'm not saying he shouldn't pay anything, but I'm saying 30 years.
that might have been
I'm
a lot.
plus.
Thinking
Life
if
plus
this
30.
is,
Especially in '95, that's a lot.
And that was funny because he says, "I got life plus 30 years. Boy, I don't know if I can do all that." Life is life.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
yeah, but that's where I'm saying is
He
it's
doesn't
kind of
grasp it.
obviously he's not mentally competent
Right.
to understand the action, understand the consequences of his actions, and those tapes prove that.
It reminds me of that horrible thing a few years ago where that one very low IQ person was in Texas, even though he killed someone, they killed him even though records show that he was just not, he doesn't understand what's going on. And they fed him his last meal and he didn't finish it, and he's like, "I'll just save this for later." And they're all like,
Oh, that's terrible.
Or one
because he didn't
guy
understand it.
back when I was in high school,
I'll
and there
save
was
this
a
for later.
there was a guy
Isn't
who
that
was
awful?
It's awful.
who, when they were taking him off, he waved at one of the other guys and said, "See you tomorrow."
Awful.
Obviously not mentally competent to stand trial.
You can't do that.
Awful.
You can't do that.
And he was not. He never should. If they had to, if it was psychiatric institutionalization or something, that would have been understandable. Maybe it was psychiatric institutional. No, because they gave him 30 years, and they don't
Right.
give you a time limit on
Life plus
psychiatric.
30 years.
Life plus 30. So no, psychiatric care, yes. Jail, no. He was not competent.
No.
Right. The system is set up to punish the evil person. And while he did an evil act, he was not an evil person. He was a broken person.
He did not
Who needed
understand the
help.
consequences of his actions.
Right.
He did not
And
As
we're
you
not
said,
set
he
up for
understand
that
what
kind
he
of
was
subtlety.
doing. No, we're not.
But in '95, did they really know like if people were on the spectrum like that, like they
They
do now?
knew, they just didn't care, and they weren't set up to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. I think
We're still not set up to deal
We're
with
still
mental health back then wasn't nearly as discussed and discovery of different things with mental. You know, like I mean, I'm sure I met a lot of people who had mental disabilities, including probably even myself. I
Well,
probably had a little bit of it.
We
like
didn't
learning.
know how bad off we were. Now we know how bad off we were. We just don't know exactly what to do about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
unfortunately. But
So that's where I'm not happy with the ending, because
Sure.
I don't think the kids should have
Realistic,
gotten as harsh of a punishment as they got before she was killed, because of the extent of the manipulation and the fact that they were kids and they were in a situation that they never should have been put in by an adult they trusted, and you know it all. And then one of them, like I said, obviously having other things going on and developmental delay or what. Yeah, no, that they shouldn't have had that kind of harsh punishment at all.
No.
Well, there you go. There's a movie that brings a lot of discussion. I think you guys should buy it and check it out for yourself. And
If you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it, you're probably already planning to buy it.
see the new Blu-ray version. It looked great.
I thought it looked fantastic. I'd love to see it on my 4K television at some point.
There you go.
But it pops.
So if you're in the area, you're going to come on back and watch a movie with us?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yay.
Good blast.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Join us next year for a brand new season. We'll be back in March.
Yay.
It's for the 5th season. Jesus. All the seasons are coming to 5 seasons right now, so that's awesome. You know, I like it when there's like a pattern.
Still going like a shambling zombie. We just keep going.
I think Criterion Watch is going to be around for a while because we got a lot of movies. I mean,
And
I know.
It's nice because we do a bunch of stinky, crappy, awful movies, but it's nice to do some good ones.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, this is not like the last one apparently you watched with us, where you had to send us notes because.
Well, that was more of an issue with me. I'm just trying to get more comfortable being on camera or knowing that I'm on camera while I'm because being recorded or being videoed kind of automatically gives me anxiety
shyness,
and
you know,
makes
kind of,
me.
yeah.
I noticed
Play 'em up.
you didn't bring your boombox with the song All By Myself playing.
Yeah, no. But you notice I'm also not looking at the camera.
That's true. Remember me, yeah.
Very little.
Yeah,
You're not
That's
seeing
good.
me
That's-
look at the camera
You're not
because
supposed to.
it makes me
Oh,
it
we're
makes me
supposed to
nervous.
remember
I'm
those.
trying to forget it's there. So.
Good. That's what you're supposed to do.
All right. Well, I'm looking at the camera to tell you guys join us next year for a brand new season. Till then, everybody, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Ready as I'm gonna be, so crumbs everywhere.
And you're knowing until you're on TV.